Hi guys, John here. Quick intro today. If you've been following me on my Instagram, you'll know this already, but I am participating in the September 2025 STRADA 30-day challenge. For this challenge, I have to, once a day, every day for the entire month of September, draw or paint some kind of anything from direct reference. Direct reference meaning no photos or, any kind of screens or zooming on a camera. It has to be from direct reference. And so for the first day, my reference that I'm using is this tube of paint that I've got. It's sitting in a bucket somewhere in my room right now, I'm sure, as I record. This is just one of the colors I had used recently and it was out. So that's what I decided. Since I do make so much painting content, I figured this would probably be a good way to start this month. In terms of my process here, this is going to be my standard mixed media process. I'll start with watercolors. Well, I'll start with initial pencil drawing, then watercolors, color pencils, pens. For each of these things that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be trying for as realistic of a sample as possible. And I'm actually going to be putting all of them on one big sheet of paper so that at the end of the month, I have a nice big uniform piece that I can keep for myself as a reminder of the entire challenge instead of 30 pieces of paper, which could easily get lost. And so here we go with the pens. Just like I said, it's going to be my standard process. So if you've seen any of my videos, you will be familiar with this process. So I'm coming through now with pens, and then I'll go through with a white pen as well afterwards. This is a stage here where I kind of had to make a decision what level of detail I wanted to go to. I didn't think that it would make a better painting in this case if I actually wrote in all these small letters that tell me the colors. So I just kind of scribbled them in here. Seemed like a bit of a waste of time to take that much care into the details on something that is as small as this. And here I'm adding the highlights with my white pen. The last 10 seconds or so of this, I'll have real time so you can kind of get a view of the final piece. And then we'll jump right into the next painting. And so here we go into the second one. Unfortunately for this one, and I think maybe one more in this video, I thought that I had hit start on the recording and didn't, and so I start a little bit into the process. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world. But this guy is this little glass duck that we've got sitting on a shelf in our living room. I thought he looked really cool, and so I added him in here. I thought it would fit nicely up in this top corner, kind of an awkward shape. So I want to get him up in the top corner so that I can, fit things around him. I was actually a little impatient here when I was making this. My paint wasn't quite dry yet when I went in with these colored pencils, and so it was giving me a few problems. Totally avoidable if I'd have just waited for the first layer to dry, but I didn't because I'm lazy. So it is what it is. You gotta live with it. I love listening to the colored pencil portions. It's my little scratches at this speed sound just like a flat tone. I think that's really cool. And so here's the final 10 seconds of this duck, and we'll move on to the next one. So we light a lot of incense in this house, so we have lighters everywhere. And this was one of the cooler ones that I found while I was searching through our vast collection. This lighter's got some fun citrus fruits on it, oranges, limes, lemons, things like that. And so I thought it would look nice on my piece of paper here. So I'm adding this guy in. Same process as everything else. I'll shut up for a little, let you enjoy. I did mess up a little bit here. When I was setting up the camera to film this one, I forgot to lock the field of view to the paper. And so you'll see as my hand comes into the frame, the camera focuses on that, unfortunately. So this one's not going to look quite as nice as some of the others will when I've actually done the setup correctly. But it is what it is, I think. You can still see what's going on. And once again, the final 10 seconds here. So for this next one, I've got this little blue piggy bank that sits in our craft room / office / recording studio, the room of many titles. And I thought it would be fun to add this guy because I like doing hard surface objects. I think it's fun to try to get those both smooth gradients and the hard shadows. And so I decided I'd put him right here next to my paint because he's also blue and fits nicely in this spot. And I can play with him sticking above the shadows a little bit. And so that's what I'm going to do here. This is another case where I will have to decide eventually here how much detail I want to go into. I think right now, as it sits, obviously it's not finished, but the coins inside it, you can kind of tell maybe what they're supposed to be, but I think there's still some room for improvement, like I'm doing here with my pencil, just to kind of indicate that these are coins, and I'll come and refine them a little more. But I don't want to sit here and, draw George Washington's face on every quarter. And so I kind of got to find a happy medium point. I'm just going to finish here by adding a little bit of red to indicate some of these are maybe not necessarily just silver quarters. Maybe there's some pennies and other things in there as well. So this next day is Friday the 5th. This evening, I actually had an event. I had an art walk where I got a booth and I had all set up. The event started about 5 p.m. and went to 9. Well, it was supposed to. However, at about 5:30, it started pouring rain and thunder and lightning. Florida in summer, so you have to kind of expect it. It is what it is. Nothing happened. I didn't ruin any of my paintings. That's good. But we we'll have a free entry to the next one because I paid for my booth and then we ended up having to cancel the day of. So our little piñata buddy is fairly detailed. And so once again, this is another case of I gotta choose how much detail to go into. I didn't do anything super exact to what it was, but when you look at the painting as a whole, you can really tell that this is what it's supposed to be, and that's all that I really care about. And last little finishing touches here. Then we will move on to the final painting for this first week of our 30-day challenge. And for today's image or item, I guess, I'm going to do this little tiny screwdriver. I think it's really cute. Like, not much bigger than the painting of it. I think is pretty close to exactly the same size. So I'm using the same process here. Once again, more hard surface. I think that looks cool. I can do that well. This guy actually is partially see-through, and so I have to indicate that in the shadow and the way that I draw the inside of it. I think I did a really good job here of doing that. So this video will be coming out on Saturday 9/6. This is my first week. I will post an update to this every Saturday for the rest of the month until the final day, which falls on a Tuesday. And that day I will do the last couple drawings as well as a recap for the entire month. Here you can see the entire painting as it sits so far. I look forward to seeing you again next Saturday. Follow me on Instagram so that you can see the process pictures of every day at a time. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, share with your friends, all the YouTube things that help the channel. We're doing good on subscribers. I think we are at 45 now, on our way to 50 so I can live stream. I really appreciate all the help that I've been getting, all the watches and likes that I have been getting. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.